Hello, everybody, and welcome to Loon Calling, a podcast dedicated to Minnesota United Football Club. And I am here, as always, with my friends in soccer. Gorts, how are you doing this evening? I'm going to do you first.
It's Tuesday. No loons for a few months. Everton's done. Is there anything better? What's World Cup? Which,
How did Everton do? I didn't see that.
Yeah, how did the Toffees do this season?
Moyes out.
Okay, that's all you got.
Yep.
I have no context. I have no context for this.
You don't need it.
Okay. I did like, I don't know. Should I say this? I feel like people will judge me, but I feel like I've sort of landed on a team that I will fight. I haven't committed. I don't have any emotional investment yet, but actually, no, I'm not going to reveal it right now. Not going to reveal who I am following in the background. I'm just like, I'm in the corner with my hood up with my sunglasses on, and I'm observing this particular Premier League team to see what happens in the summer. But anyways, Daya, how are you doing on this very warm summer day?
I am doing all right. I couldn't watch the game live, so as of recording on Tuesday, I just watched it like 5 minutes ago. I think I'm one of the only people who really makes use of the ability to replay games later.
I do, but yeah, I don't think it's a popular function. Like, I don't know how many people are going back watching the VODs that aren't like mega nerds or media people or journalists. Like, it's really nice that they're all on demand, though. Like,
yeah, I get really frustrated even with other leagues. I get frustrated when I can't go back and check out games later, just because it feels like a very simple. Like, we have the technology, so it's really just a choice.
The file's somewhere. The file's sitting somewhere. Make it available.
Yeah. So anyway,
maybe there's someone you can email. Can you email someone for the file? Some sicko somewhere records everything, so you can find it somewhere.
I would guess that if you're like part of a professional club with a scouting department, you've probably got access to some film archives somewhere. But I don't know what the common man is supposed to do.
Yeah, what are we supposed to do? What are we sickos supposed to do? How we I guess I'll just do this at the top. How are we feeling about the World Cup? How are we feeling about the World Cup break? Because we don't have any more Loon soccer for literally just under 2 months. So how are we feeling about the World Cup? What's the temperature?
I don't follow the national teams. Like national FIFA breaks have always just been a footy break for me. And then on top of that, I don't have like the right broadcast or streaming service to get the matches. So I'd have to pay like, I don't know, 50, 60, $100 for a couple months if I wanted to. So I'm honestly thinking that the World Cup break will, for me, be both a chance to maybe watch more of Madison because USL 1 is still going to be going. But also maybe just it's going to be a soccer break for me for a couple months to finish a degree and catch up on some reading and touch some grass. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
I think that's a great plan. Gorts, how about you? How are we feeling about the World Cup?
I mean, one point I'm like, oh, it's the World Cup, it's here in America, and then at the same time I'm like, I'm just gonna sit my ass on the couch, and if I can watch a match, I'll watch a match. I am not paying those enormous prices to go because I can get a better view sitting my ass on my couch than I can anywhere. Not to and then factoring in the flight, hotel. I mean, yeah, I'll watch. I'll keep up with it and then watch it, but
The
that's
geopolitics are also
the
kind
hard.
of turning me off. Like it's like the clear financial
Yeah,
greed,
to say the least.
the fact that we like just bombed the shit out of one of the countries to the point where they decided not to send a team. Like I genuinely fear for fans who are coming in who might have ice encounters. Um, like there's just a beyond the question of just me not personally having much investment, there's just kind of a bad taste in my mouth with this whole lead up, and it's making it very hard to even try and develop or generate any personal enthusiasm.
This is a very common sentiment, and it's very sad because the World Cup is supposed to be okay. This is the platonic idea of the World Cup. It's supposed to be that the sport of football brings people together across cultures. Now, the FIFA organization has proven time and time again that that is not their goal. Obviously, for the World Cup,
Show
it is
me the
first and foremost a monetary
money.
thing. Yeah, it's moolah. So, but I'm a romantic, like I'm a writer, I'm an artist. I like the platonic ideal of the World Cup, and the 2022 World Cup was kind of like that for me, even though it was in Qatar, Qatar, however you pronounce the country, and was built basically on surf labor. So, like, you know, um, yeah, I'm not feeling too great about the World Cup. I want to catch like I'm gonna watch France Senegal for sure. Um, I I love a fucking colonizer revenge match. That's just one of my favorite things in the world. Is when the colonized country just fucking beats up on the colonizer. Absolutely fantastic. Also I think it'll just be a good game. I am gonna follow like I don't know how many minutes I'm actually going to watch of matches, but I think I'm going to follow like I want to follow the Loons. I want to follow Carlos Harvey for Panama. I want to follow Boxy for New Zealand. Obviously, we're going to cheer for New Zealand. And then Hamas, I'm going to see what he's up to too. See what Colombia is up to. So, but I think I'll try to catch some games at Brits Pub or Blackheart, but I'm not gonna make that much of an effort to catch games. Like I'll catch them when I catch them. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think as the tournament goes on and when it reaches out of the group stage, it'll be a lot easier to follow. Um, but yeah, that's kind of. I think we're all equal in our enthusiasm for the World Cup, which is to say, not very much. Like, not locked in for a variety of reasons. It's just so sad that the World Cup is partially hosted in our country, and they have done the most to make it the least accessible, least enjoyable, worst vibes World Cup of all time. And then I think of how much like carbon dioxide is being released into the atmosphere for all the fucking flights that people need to take to just get around this fucking region, and it's just like it's just the icing on the cake is the carbon impact.
There will be multiple outbreaks of various diseases to various
Oh
degrees.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And as we are in a resource crisis, at least in the United States, because of all these data centers that these billionaires are building to try to make AI work, it's just the icing on the cake. It's just a fucking shitstorm out here. That's the takeaway from everything. But let's move on and talk about our plans for this show for the World Cup break, because we have 2 months. 2 months until the next match. Next week is a very special episode. We are having Wes Burdine on, the owner of Blackheart of St. Paul and the co-founder of Aurora of FC. It's going to be a great
It's Minnesota
time.
Aurora.
Minnesota Aurora, sorry. So it's going to be a great time. We're going to interview Wes. I have met Wes on a number of occasions at Blackheart. But a really great figure in our soccer community in Minnesota. So that'll be great. Please tune in next week for that interview. And then, depending on how much time he has, he might stay on for the rest of the recording, where we will go over the best and worst moments of the first half of the season and share our kind of overarching thoughts. And then after that, we are going to do an episode on the summer transfer window, what we think we're going to be targeting, and also potentially what the players in the current roster can do to hopefully make a better impact in the second half of the season. It's basically going to be another preseason to an entirely different leg of the season. I think the vibes are going to be very different in the second half of the season, not just because there will be summer transfer window signings, but it's just like a 2-month break. It's going to be a really good test for how it's going to feel in the MLS regular season, where there will always be a 2-month break in the middle of the season because we're playing over the winter now. So that's going to be fascinating. Also, I haven't plugged the email at all. If you want to send an email for suggestions for topics, or just want to give us your 2 cents on the show or whatever, our email is loomcallingmn@gmail.com. Go ahead and shoot us an email there, and might get it read on the show to have a little discussion about your thoughts. Okay, and then there's plenty of other room for other ideas as well. We will continue to brainstorm those ideas. There are a few people that I want to reach out to, so we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the news. We got a couple pieces of news, one bigger than the other, I think. If anybody was reading around the Reddit, there was a little rumor that got put on Reddit, and I'm calling it a rumor because it's one of those situations where somebody knows somebody at the club who knows somebody who said something. That kind of situation. It's just like, take it with a grain of salt. Apparently, there's a rumor that the reason Yeboah was not in the lineup for the RSL match is because he took a swing at Padelford during training, causing a disciplinary action that saw Yeboah miss the RSL match. Now, the club did issue a statement to the media saying that Yeboah was out due to an internal affair, which is very vague and professional. It could be any number of things. We don't really have any details, and we might not ever know the details of it. If this was the case, I mean, I'll throw it to y'all, Gorts. I'll throw it to you. What do you think about this? Did you hear about the rumor before this recording, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, I had done a little, seen that, and it happens. And I mean, they probably, won't go into, we won't know the full story behind it, but you hate to see it happen with, somebody at your club, and, you hope, Yeboah and Padelford, kind of after that, kind of hugged it out, and, no animosity towards each other. So, stuff like this can happen.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of it. Like you said, it's, rumors and glimmers of rumors, and somebody who knows somebody said something. So I don't want to read too much into it. It certainly did kind of reveal how we really need more depth at the striker position, because it just kind of, I think, laid really bare, more than anything. We've got Yeboah up top and a couple other guys who are developing strikers, and a few other guys who are kind of attacking midfielders, but predominantly play in other positions. So, I think, without wanting to speculate too much about why he was off the field, the fact that he was really kind of hopefully forced the office to maybe confront a little more clearly where we might need to work on our roster over this transfer window.
All right. Well, in other news, maybe lighter news, Boxy and Carlos Harvey have officially been named to their country's World Cup rosters. Yay! Best of luck to them. Really great to see some Loons having some impact in this World Cup, even if it is an expanded World Cup. Of course, Carlos Harvey for Panama and Michael Boxall for New Zealand. As I mentioned previously, I think I'm going to follow. I'm going to follow New Zealand's journey and Panama's journey through the World Cup, wishing Panama the best, as well as New Zealand. Um, should be great. Not much else to say about that, so I think we're gonna move on to the RSL match. This RSL match that happened this previous Saturday, and what a match it was. As we were talking about Yeboah not too long ago, and whatever happened there, the facts are that he was not in the lineup on Saturday. So, in his place, Mamadou Zhang comes in and plays in his place. So that is interesting. It's not his first MLS start, but it is his first start as the lone striker up top. But other than that, the lineup looked pretty much the same. The back line of Diaz, Boxy, and Duggan. Marcanic and Duncan were wingbacks. Triantis and Jen in the midfield, and Pineda, DeGen playing striker, and then Chonkalai are the attackers as per usual. And once again, we saw the majority of the ball, 57%. We are delivering on the promise of playing more with the ball. Are we doing enough with the ball? That remains to be seen. Yeah, it's just to dive right into the match. The beginning of the match goes like all of the matches as of late. The Loons concede the first goal early, and that changes the whole dynamic of the match where you have to immediately dig out of a hole. Dial, I'll throw it to you this time. What do you think of our trend of conceding the first goal in these matches lately?
We do seem to have an issue of starting a bit slow, and then it's kind of a question of how well we can kind of grow into the game. We did that pretty well here, but it also does kind of set our attack up where they kind of need to fight an uphill battle, not just of getting a tie, but scoring enough to get us a win. And, as I was just saying, we just don't seem to have enough depth up at striker. And like we do have some attacking talent developing, but we just don't seem to have the level of talent in our attack at the moment to consistently not just score like one and get an early lead, but to kind of come back from behind. That just requires, I think, more consistency than we are capable of producing right now. So it would be good if we could kind of figure out why our guys tend to be a little slow to start, and maybe get off on the front foot a little better in the second half of the season.
Gorts, what did you think about the beginning of this match and the Loons going down a goal early once again?
I mean, it is, tough to, see us always, conceding the early goal, but it I really like how these guys have really, will concede the early goal, but we'll end up going and at least trying our getting a likely to get at least a goal and kind of start a comeback, but you know it's a Minnesota sports team. We're all just kind of miserable. I feel like we're supposed to be like miserable at some point.
That was the one thing I do miss about Ramsey Ball is that we oftentimes we're not playing from behind. Not often, but it's a very different kind of match to watch. I would rather this team not concede the first goal all the time. It's just not a good habit. You should not be, especially at home, playing from behind. It makes me bring up the question, like, are we being too aggressive too early? Like, are we opening things up and giving the other team transition opportunities? Because all of our goals recently have been conceded off of transition opportunities. And obviously, that is a result of wanting to play with the ball more. Like, obviously, if you have the ball, you're playing with the ball. The other team has to turn the ball over and thus creates a transition opportunity. But think early in matches, it is definitely a trend. Like, it is a pattern that early in the match, in the first 20 minutes, the other team gets a transition opportunity and we either have poor marking in the box or the center back gets cooked or something like that. It's just not it's not a habit that I'm a fan of, really. Dio, what do you think of is this a product of our game plan, or is this just bad luck as of late?
I don't know that the issue, at least in the RSL goal that they got, was that it was like a fast transition. Because if you go back and watch it, we did have plenty of bodies back. I think it was more the player was not being marked closely enough and was able to kind of find some space and make some room for a really good shot. Um, so I'm inclined to think it's more like just we don't have the mentality right from the get go to defend aggressively and really make enemy attackers work for any space they're trying to get or any goal they're trying to get. Like, I think I'm inclined to think it's more a mentality issue than a game plan issue. Um, and that like we kind of do wake up as time goes on, but I think we kind of got to figure out how to be awake from first kick.
Gorts, do you agree with that sentiment?
I do 100%.
Is that a coaching issue?
I'm maybe like 50-50 on that one, because it seems like you like having, like Mark. I think, we know kind of Marcanic, I feel like, is to blame for it, because he wasn't tracking. Yeah, it's, I feel like, 50-50 player and, man, managing it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. There's just and this is a trend that I've noticed in the last, I don't know, 5 or so matches too. It's just like, it doesn't seem like the team is playing with a lot of energy or motivation. Not to say that they're playing with lack of, like, I don't think the team is playing poorly per se, but it seems like there's a lack of pace. There's a lack of urgency, especially early in matches. And I think is a that is a reason why we keep conceding early, is that the team is just not injecting pace into the game early. And that makes it easier for teams to find opportunities like that. I do think the goal we conceded is on Marcanic. Like, rewatching the highlights right before recording, like, I think it's just poor marking and poor spacing. Like, Marcanic is way too close to Duggan. And even if he's like a step or two to his left, I think he can make more of a challenge onto the ball, and not give the RSL player so much time and space to just pick out a shot and rocket it up into the goal. So it's unfortunate. I mean, obviously we don't really know what the issue is in terms of the trend, but hopefully the team can take this break to reorganize defensively and hopefully start the second leg of the season having a better idea of how they're going to organize on defense. Because just because you want to evolve offensively doesn't mean that your defensive organization has to take a hit. So that's all I will say on that. Let's talk about Mamadou Zhang. He gets his first start as the sole striker on the field. How do we feel about this performance, Gorts? How'd you think he looked?
I like him. I mean, other than he kind of needs to work on his timing because he did I think straight offside, but no, he looks really really good. I feel like he'll hopeful that he'll come good. I just love the pathway from like the lower leagues kind of, and then being picked up by the top division, and then um I mean kind of almost like a Tani story in a way where Mamadou was just he was balling out for Hartford in the championship, um and so trying to go with like, and with remember Tani, and had his loan spell in San Antonio and absolutely tore up championship in San Antonio, and it's still you could still see he's still trying to adapt to MLS as but overall I think there's a future for him.
What about you, Diane? What did you think of his I think he got 73 minutes in this match before he was subbed off. So what did you think of his 73 minutes?
Yeah, I agree with Gortz. I think a lot of people had been kind of wondering if he was ready or able to take the next step up towards MLS after doing pretty well down in USL. He's definitely still not there, but also important to remember that he's still just 22. He's still very much a project for us. But this was, I think, the first time I watched him playing for us where I saw what Khaled El Ahmad saw when he signed him. Like, I saw the vision and the potential, and kind of felt like, given more time, given more development, um, he could actually grow into, if not quite like a Tani level player. Certainly, he's heading in that direction, and could at the very least be like a solid addition to an MLS roster. It wasn't just, part of it was that he did put the ball in the back of the net. Yeah, it sucks that he was offsides a couple times, but I'm hoping that he at least takes from that like the confidence he needs to start taking shots, to get headers, to try and get those finishes. If he can just work on his timing and positioning a bit, he'll start to get goals. His decision making seemed a little better. There was this beautiful dummy run he made for Bongi at about the 70-minute mark where he pulled a defender off and let Bongi run into space. Bongi unfortunately didn't finish it, but it just showed that he's starting to kind of move in a more sophisticated way and kind of understand what particular moments require. Still saw a couple moments where he gets a ball and he takes like a really rough first touch, so his ball handling still isn't quite as elegant as it needs to be if he's going to kind of take that next step, but that's something that hopefully he can work on. In the meantime, he's still got like really good physicality, good speed. He's a big, strong guy who can fend off defenders and fight in the box. So hopefully, as time goes on, we can kind of keep developing him, and he can kind of keep taking that next step, whatever it is for him.
Yeah, I fully agree. I especially agree with what you said about like it was the first time where you could kind of see what the vision is with him, especially the first goal that he was offside on, pretty clearly offside in that run, and it probably affected how the defenders were treating that goal. But even so, he showed great poise in changing direction, faking a shot, waiting for an opening, being patient. And yeah, he showed great pace too, and his ability to stay calm and hopefully finish off a goal. And then the header, you know, yeah, he's just offside. But I think throughout the match he looked comfortable. Like he looked like he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he, for the most part, executed it, which is a really, really great sign. I think this performance earns him more minutes. I mean, obviously, it depends on how everybody comes back from their mandatory 18-day break from training. But, you know, you have to treat the second half of the season as its own preseason. But hopefully, if he continues working hard and throughout the summer and takes it seriously and comes back really fit and continues working on a bunch of stuff, maybe we do need a battle for that starting striker spot. I mean, we still don't know what happened with Yeboah, and hopefully it's just like, hopefully it's resolved. Like he seems like a good guy, so I really don't think he's pulling diva stuff. But even so, we'll see. I like what I saw, and I want to see more. Is my conclusion from that. I touched on this earlier, but I think just like the overall pace, and partially of this, this is partially because it's like we've had so many games in the past month. I think players are just tired. I've heard other reporters and pundits talk about this, that like legs just look tired right now. But I think overall the pace, what I noticed, especially like we concede the goal in the 22nd minute. And then after that, the game is just, it's not, I would not call it pretty soccer to watch. Like it was a lot of very slow pace. And, you know, I guess you can call it a match where the teams are evenly matched in a way, but just not a lot of pace, not a lot of urgency. What Daya, you just watched the match. Like, would you agree with that assessment, or if am I just sick of watching us play from behind?
It for the first half hour, maybe 35 minutes, I felt like it still looked like a continuation of the last few weeks where we just looked very discombobulated and like we did not know what we were doing. The final 2/3 of the match, it didn't look amazing, but it did start to look a little better. We seemed to be finding a little more of a rhythm, developing a bit more coordination, kind of heading back in the direction of earlier in the season where we were kind of on a streak of run, a really good run and a few good games tied together. I My suspicion is that the last month was kind of trying for our staff and players because we kind of integrated James, who, as we have talked about, super talented guy, but completely reoriented how we had to play. And I think we had several weeks of our team basically having to develop two separate identities, the one with James on the field and the one without. And I think we were kind of just torn a little bit, and that kind of led to some awkward games where we kind of didn't know who we were. Whereas as this game went on, I felt like we were kind of starting to remember that, you know, other pre-James identity that I think Cam is more interested in developing. So I felt like even if we hadn't gotten that last minute equalizer, even if we had lost, I would have still been kind of okay with the game, even if frustrated and disappointed. Because I would have felt like, okay, I feel like we are rediscovering who we are and what we want to do and kind of ready to start developing it. And hopefully the World Cup break gives us a bit of time to kind of take our foot off the gas. Everyone can go home for a few weeks, see their family, and come back. And Cam can kind of start building for a more cohesive identity for our second half of the season. That was kind of my overall takeaway of the arc of the match and the last, I don't know, 6 weeks or so of admittedly kind of confusing, muddled play.
Yeah, Gorts, I guess I'll throw it to you this way, just so you have a little bit of a different angle to go about it. Like, I guess what is your impression of, like, what is your impression on how the Loons have been, how the attack has been looking in the last 5 or so matches? Because we've had a little drought of scoring, and we've had a little drought of like looking like we know what we're doing in the attack. Like, what is your impression of that? Where are we going wrong? Or yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Is it me, or does it feel like our attack feels very predictable, where it's like, hey, get the ball to Chancla or Pereira and kind of, let them do their thing. Where I think you look at it, I think Chancla likes to get the ball and then go wide, whereas Pereira likes when he gets the ball, he goes more centrally and can kind of, feed the ball from there. And yeah, no, I think we're becoming, in my honest opinion, I think we're becoming kind of very predictable as far as um doing that. And then, kind of, set pieces, I think, kind of still a thing for us. But that's also kind of, predictable, kind of, being a little predictable as well. So that's my honest opinion.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think I'd agree with that. Like it seems like teams know what we're trying to do in the attack. Like it's lacking creativity, it's lacking spontaneity, it's lacking pace too. Like it's quite slow. So hopefully that is something that can be addressed. I think like to bring it to the next part, like I think once Trapp and Gonzalez came in, like there seemed to be more pace and there seemed to be more like ideas, and also it seemed like we were really getting into the groove of chasing that goal, of chasing tying the matchup. So we see Trapping Gonzalez sub in for Triantis and Marcanic in the 77th minute. I liked how Trapp looked in this match when he came in. It's really nice to have a solid player like Trapp come in with really fresh legs and be able to make an impact. Gonzalez, don't worry, we'll mention Gonzalez, but Gonzalez, like, he's always he's always trying to find an impact in the game, and it seems like I like his passing and I like his vision so far. And as we will talk about, I'm beginning to like his presence in the box. Gorts, I'm going to throw it to you this time. What did you think about the subs? Like, I will also say we see Dominic Fitz finally get some minutes in a match, and then we see Marcus Caldera come in as well in the 83rd minute. What did you think of the subs in this match? Did anything stand out to you?
I mean, I mean, we can totally talk about Fitz. I think Fitz is that's very weird, because it seems like, especially when we had James, like Fitz was nowhere to be seen, and it wonders. I think a lot of fans feel like, is he might Loons move on from him this summer, either a transfer or a loan. But but otherwise, Gonzalez, I've liked what I've seen from him. Caldera, he looks like another even more raw player than Dieng. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I like that, we're going to the bench and, um, using subs kind of, maybe a little bit later than I'd, maybe make them a little bit sooner, but, understand, these are the guys that are, put your best players out. And that's kind of my thoughts.
Yeah, Dial, what did you think of the subs in this game?
I thought they did pretty well. It was also nice to see Bongi get some minutes. He unfortunately missed that one opportunity
I
he had to
somehow left
score,
Bongi
but
off the rundown. Sorry, Bongi.
yeah, no worries. I'll bring him back in. It was nice to see him playing, and he seemed to be doing decently well, at least in terms of helping our possession. Would have been great to see him score. Hopefully, he gets another opportunity before the season's up. Um, and yeah, it was nice to see Dominic Fitz. The announcers mentioned that, like, I guess he's been dealing with some illness. So they've been kind of having to work him back into proper fitness. throughout the beginning of the season. I would love to see him come back from the World Cup break and start either subbing in early, like around the 60-minute marker, or maybe even getting a few starts. I don't remember how long his contract is, but if we can get him some minutes throughout the
I
rest
think
of
it's like
this season,
2028.
yeah, I would love to see him kind of work up his fitness, get used to the league, and then come back for like a 27, 28, maybe 29. I'd have to look back at that contract. I'd love to see us really get some use out of him because I do feel like, Gorts, you were saying like our attack looks a little predictable at times because Chonkalai and Pereira both kind of have their preferred styles. I feel like Fitz would give us maybe a little more dynamism. He's not quite a James level player, but maybe he kind of is able to bring just a little more of a creative flourish, help us break down some lines with some central passes that aren't just like crosses for headers. I don't know. I feel like he has been here a year and we still don't really know who he is as a player. So maybe that's just wish casting, but yeah, hopefully he comes back from the break looking a lot better. And yeah, I would add Trap, I thought did pretty well. Caldera looks again like kind of a development project, but was happy to see him get some minutes, and Gonzalez getting the goal was obviously great.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been seeing some rumblings of people, and obviously Gortz mentioned it as well. Of like, is the team going to move on from Fitz? I truly don't think he's actually had a shot. Like, if he's dealing with illness, like I think it was just a weird, like, worst case scenario off season and then beginning of the season for him. Like, I think now is where the trial starts. Now until the end of the season is where he has to show, like, okay, are you going to make an impact? Are you going to affect the attack? Because I'm not judging when he first arrives because he's played his entire professional career in Austria, playing in that domestic league. Okay. And then you go to America and you get thrown into MLS, you get thrown into North American soccer, all of the travel, being in an unfamiliar place. You have to adjust to that. And then apparently you have a pretty poor health in the off season, and you just don't have a chance to integrate into the team. So I don't think we're gonna move. I don't think we're gonna loan him, and I don't think we're gonna move on from him. I think like now it's like, okay, get this guy fit and get this guy minutes to see what this guy can do, especially because of our trend in the last 5 or so matches of like the attack looking pretty stagnant and pretty stale. I I still consider myself a beginner or like an intermediate level like viewer of this game, but like every time, like watching him, he has a little something extra that other players don't. Like, he's always trying to find a pass forward, or he's always trying to dribble the ball forwards. He's not a player that likes to turn around, which I think we need more of, especially centrally. And we have like zero penetration up the center of the field. It's all out wide, servicing in, which is great. But you also need options through the center, which is what James brought at his best. Is just like somebody who sits in the center of the field that can pass the ball. So we'll see if that works out. Yeah, I mean, we kind of buried the lead on the Gonzalez goal, but Gonzalez gets the equalizer in the 93rd minute. Showed great physicality in the box to win that header. Yeah, I thought it was a great goal. Obviously, super happy for him. First MLS goal. Yeah, and he looked pretty comfortable as well. Like, if we're getting these young project attackers comfortable with the game plan so they can just go in and get impact minutes, I think that is a positive thing. But again, really, really small sample size. So it's really going to be like, I guess that's something to look forward to once the season starts back up. Like, how are these young guys going to attack the time off and use the preseason to really, really try to integrate into the team to win some starting positions? Because I think we probably need more competition to get the motivation up. Yeah, we tie it up. We scrape a point from this match. Good to see it. I mean, I guess I will say that the team has come back from deficits a lot this season, which shows fight and shows motivation. But like, you also got to defend and not concede early goals and play from behind all the time. That is not a good habit to be in. We already talked about the attack, really. Yeah. So, any closing thoughts from this match, Gorts? Do you have anything else you want to mention from this match?
Nope.
What about you, Daya?
Nothing to add that we haven't already talked about, I don't think.
Cool. Yeah. Overall, like, not to be cynical or anything, but like, largely a nothing burger until I think until the subs came in. Is when I started to lock back into the match. I was kind of zoning out there. I was just like, wow, we're really sitting and watching this stagnant attack again. And then things looked good, and I was really excited for Gonzalez. So like, I would really love when we come back to see our attack be a little bit fresher. So yeah, that's all our thoughts from the RSL match. We talked about our thoughts about the World Cup. You know, what our plans are. I'm gonna try to catch some matches at Brits Pub and at Blackheart. I guess what I'll say about this is like, because the vibes are so bad about the World Cup, like, try to use it as an opportunity to just be with the people you like and care about. Like, use it as an excuse to get together, and support local businesses as well, like Blackheart and Brett's Pub. Like, you know, get together, have a few drinks, have a good time. It's summer. Enjoy the fucking summer. Sit on a patio. If a World Cup game is on, great, cool. We're watching the World Cup game. I also, like, we didn't talk about the U.S. national team basically at all. I have negative motivation to cheer for the U.S. men's national team, especially like the roster comes out and like, I love Diego Luna. He's probably my favorite player in the pool right now. I don't really have a connection to any of the other players, and then he's not on the roster, which, you know, is a thing. Like, do y'all have any thoughts on the roster at all? Like, Gorts, did you see the roster? You have any thoughts? Do you have any connection to any of the players on this roster?
I mean, why the fuck is Rodon being called up? I do not like him.
Really?
I don't think he's as good as people say. Unless he's called up for, he's good in the locker, or, you know, a good locker room guy. I can get that. But sit his ass on the bench. You don't need him. Berhalter, I like.
I also like Berhalter.
I think there's a Europe's calling his name after this.
Yeah, I think that's why he hasn't signed a contract, is that I think he thinks he's going to get offers from Europe, and I think he'd want to go try that out for sure.
The goalkeeping position will be, I think, one of the most interesting, because, you know, I don't trust Turner in net. So I'd like to see Freeze in net, but was it Turner is getting the number 1 jersey, so that means that I'm probably assuming that Turner is probably the starter. But and then I just hope, you know, Chris Richards is good for coming for the World Cup after his
I'm worried about our defensive midfielder depth, because there's 3 on the roster. I think you got Roldan. McKennie's listed as one, and then who else? Tyler Adams is the other one. right?
Yeah, but Tyler Adams is very injury prone. And then I think there was somebody asked Pochettino about, about the little depth, and he's like, "Oh, we can have Gio Reyna play as, Gio Reyna can step in." And
Yeah, with Gio Reyna, the guy who doesn't play.
I'm like, "Are you for real? Gio Reyna as a defensive midfielder?"
I mean, it would be a good narrative for him to like do some special stuff in the World Cup and like earn people's goodwill back. But from what I know about him, like, you know, I don't know. Apparently, they believe in his talent. Like, I mean, he did score a goal in one of the. When was it? Was that a friendly or was that the? I don't remember what it was. I mean, I think apparently he's talented. I haven't seen a lot of him because he doesn't play a lot for his club. So there isn't really a lot of opportunity to watch him play currently in his current form. So I guess we'll see because obviously Poch believes in him a lot.
Here's a Loon related question, kind of. I know some of us might still be bitter, but do you think Dane St. Clair gets he gets the call up to the Canadian team, but he and Maxime Crépeau have been kind of neck and neck. Hold on. They've been kind of neck and neck the last few years, but Dane goes from goalkeeper of the year at Minnesota down to Miami, and he is riding the struggle bus there. But also Crépeau is not having a great season either. So I'm curious, does anyone have like a sense of which of them will get more matches?
God, that's a great question.
If Dane had stayed in Minnesota and kept performing at the level here, I think he has that spot locked down. But going to Miami,
I agree with you.
Going to Miami, which has a much more poorly organized defense, I think has revealed that whatever his strengths and merits, he also has some serious weaknesses that were kind of covered over by Ramsey Ball and our defensive organization.
I don't know. That Inter Miami defense is fucking awful. It is atrociously bad.
And they don't give a shit because they just figure like we've got Messi and Suarez and Rodrigo de Paul and
their whole thing is we're gonna just score more goals than you. I mean, take a look at what was it, the Miami Philly game? That was nuts. I mean,
and when you have Messi, you can do that, but it also sets up a keeper like Dane to, really take a hit in terms of his stats, in terms of his trajectory,
but
in terms of his confidence.
He signed up for that.
Yeah, and like
he's the one that wanted to go.
I'm not even mad because if he thinks like I want to take the next step in my career, a team that is always going to be qualifying for like CONCACAF and competing for cups and making deep runs in the playoffs, Miami is probably a better bet. But he also set himself up to he put himself in a much more difficult position for himself personally. And I kind of wonder if maybe if he had just waited a year and got through the World Cup, then he could have kind of figured out where to go next. But maybe
and he could have.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's to the degree that there is like a World Cup narrative that I'm following. That's one I'm kind of curious to see, just because not only will it affect how Canada does this year, but I think it will have an effect on Dane's trajectory, because I think he was hoping that a World Cup series of performances could be leveraged from Miami into maybe Europe. But if he just has not been able to take that next step, then maybe he kind of putters out and just becomes a really solid MLS level keeper. Maybe he's here for a while.
It really depends on how he performs in the World Cup, because based on his Inter Miami performances,
well, and I
don't think any European team is looking at that. And
but it's if like he might be on the bench and Crépeau might get the start. Like, I don't know if I'm Jesse Marsh, I don't know how to read between these two and make a call. like they're both on teams that are really questionable and really shaky, but they're also not covering themselves in glory either. Um, so anyway, that was just
Yeah,
a question I've been
I
kind of
guess we'll just
mulling
have to see.
over. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just have to see on that one. The World Cup is going to be interesting, that's for sure. Um, all right, we have reached the part in the podcast. It's time for one more thing. Who's got a one more thing to share? Anyone want to share anything?
I got nothing, man.
I just got back. I just got back from Colorado. I saw a show at Red Rocks. If you've never been to the Red Rocks venue, highly recommend it. It is a wonderful place to see a concert, and the sound was actually excellent. It was really, really super easy to hear every element of the show. It was great. I saw the band Flip Turn. If you care to know, it's a good band, good indie rock band from
Did,
South Florida.
didn't you just go to
They got some
Europe
great
like
songs.
a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I've been traveling. This is not the norm for me. It
And
just
then you were
worked
in
out like
Atlanta.
yeah, seeing my partner
You're
in
just
Atlanta.
all over, world traveler.
I'm on the, don't worry, the travel's done. Like like it's over. Actually, technically it's not true, but the only reason I'm going up north this weekend is because I'm taking care of my parents' dog. So it's basically I'm basically working. But um yeah, after that, Jesus, I think honestly poor planning on my part because now like I have no funds to travel this summer basically, but also summer's money making season. So I got to make that money. I got to make that money and then I can travel in the fall. That's what I'm telling myself at least. So yeah, Red Rocks, go for it. Dia, do you have one more thing for us?
Nope.
No. Jesus. I'm going to cut this segment. Nobody has anything to say.
I mean, I'll go. I'll go. I mean, I have two. I know we didn't, but I want to shout out Ethan Kohler from the New England Revolution. He knows who he is. I love his grandma. I love his grandparents.
Love.
And then let's go one more thing. I got to shake Josh Dunmo's hand because he shops at the grocery store I work at. So that's my one more thing is
For those of us that have no idea who that is, can you fill us in?
he Lennox in the Transformers movies.
Oh,
So
wow.
that he's
In North Dakota.
because he was born in Minot, and then I think he was here because his daughter was born like the 19th, I believe. His daughter
cool.
was born, so it's that's one more thing.
Cool. Well, that is it for our podcast. Another reminder, we're going to have Wes Burdine up on the podcast next week. Please listen to that episode. It'll be good. And yeah, feel free to send your comments or your suggestions to our email. That is once again, looncallingmn@gmail.com. I'm also going to link it in the show notes. You should be able to just click on it and send us an email. You can also send DMs on Blue Sky. Also follow the show on Blue Sky. That's kind of the only channel I care to advertise. I'm not advertising shit. The only channel that I wish to interact with people on in this current moment. So yeah, if you want show updates, I tend to retweet, content from other, loons, content creators, and pundits I like, and reporting, and just general goings on in the community as well. So if you're interested in that, go drop us a follow on Blue Sky. But other than that, thank you so much for listening to our show. Leave a rating if you like the show. It really does help out the exposure. And yeah, thanks so much for listening. We will catch you in the next one next week. tune in, please. Okay. Bye-bye.